Hello everyone, welcome back to our 100 Adverbs in 3 Months series. This is lesson 75. We're almost there. Remember, we're spending just 5 minutes a day, and by the end of these 3 months, you'll know how to use 100 essential adverbs. Understanding these adverbs will make reading and writing in English much easier. So, try finding a piece of writing you like and see how many adverbs you can spot. You might be surprised at how much clearer things become. Today, we're focusing on the adverb constantly. But first, let's start with a quick quiz to get your brains warmed up. Which of these sentences best describes the meaning of constantly? 1. I eat breakfast constantly. 2. The weather constantly changes. 3. I constantly study for 5 minutes every day. All right, what do you think? The correct answer is number 2. The weather constantly changes. So, what does constantly mean? It means all the time, or very often. It describes something that happens again and again, usually without stopping. Now, you might be wondering why the first and third sentences were incorrect. Well, constantly often has a slightly negative meaning, as if something happens too much or it's a little annoying. So saying you constantly eat breakfast or constantly study might sound strange or exaggerated. We'll talk more about this in a moment. Now let's think about how that feels. Imagine something that never stops. It keeps going, like a clock ticking or a baby crying. Sometimes it can be a little annoying, like when someone constantly asks you the same question. Other times, it's just something that happens all the time, like the weather changing. Now let's look at how constantly is used in real life. Imagine your friend is always texting, like non-stop. You could say, she constantly texts her friends. Or think about the weather, especially if you live somewhere where it changes a lot. You might say, the weather constantly changes. It's like it never settles down, right? Let's compare constantly with a word you probably already know, always. They're similar, but there's a difference. Always is more neutral or positive. It just means something happens every time or regularly, like, my teacher is always punctual. That's a good thing, right? But constantly can feel a bit negative, like it's too much or a little annoying. For example, if your friend won't stop talking about their favorite TV show, you might say, he constantly talks about that show. It's like, enough already. All right, now it's your turn. I want you to create a sentence using constantly and share it in the comments below. Think about something that happens a lot in your life. Maybe it's something funny or something that drives you a little crazy. That's it for today's lesson. We learned that constantly means something that happens all the time or very often. Remember to practice using it, and don't forget to compare it with always when you need to choose the right word. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep up the great work, and as always, happy learning.